When the wise man contemplates Tae Kwon Do, he does not see a catalogue of techniques. He sees governance. He sees law expressed through the body. There are three ministers in every movement: force, balance, and conservation of energy. Remove one, and the state falls into disorder. Exalt one above the others, and excess invites collapse. Only when they restrain and reinforce one another does technique become worthy of trust. Force is the emissary sent outward. It is what the opponent encounters. Balance is the ruler within. It determines whether that emissary speaks with authority or stumbles at the gate. Energy conservation is the treasury. Without it, campaigns cannot be sustained. A warrior who spends without measure may win a moment and lose the war. When these three remain aligned, movement appears effortless. When one falters, the others decay at once, like beams in a structure that depend upon one another for strength. The beginner believes the front kick begins with the leg. The seasoned practitioner knows it begins before motion is visible. In the chamber, the knee rises. Yet this rising is not aggression, it is gathering. The body shifts its center over the supporting leg. Potential energy accumulates quietly within stable structure. Balance is not decoration here, it is containment. Without it, energy leaks into sway, tension, and unnecessary effort. Stillness is not absence of force. It is force awaiting direction. When the hip drives forward and the leg extends, the strike appears. But what appears is merely the unveiling of what was already prepared. The extension does not create power, it releases it. The more disciplined the chamber, the more decisive the expression. If balance was true, the line of force travels straight and uncompromised. If balance was careless, the body compensates, and compensation is the tax paid for impatience. Yet impact is not the end. The master withdraws the leg immediately. Retraction is not retreat, it is reclamation. Energy that is left at the target cannot defend the next moment. The leg returns along its path, restoring center and readiness. In this way, force does not disturb balance, and balance protects the treasury of energy. A kick that lingers displays pride. A kick that returns displays wisdom. The roundhouse reveals a different lesson. Here, power is not linear command, but rotational inevitability. The pivot of the supporting foot is the quiet beginning of everything that follows. Many neglect it because it is subtle. Yet without the pivot, the hips cannot turn freely. Without free hips, rotation meets resistance within the body itself. And resistance within becomes instability without. Thus, the smallest foundation governs the largest effect. When the pivot is complete and the spine upright, the hips rotate without obstruction. Energy spirals outward in a continuous chain, from ground to leg, from leg to instep. Nothing is forced at the end, because nothing was blocked at the beginning. By the time the foot arrives, force has already matured. If the pivot is incomplete, balance wavers. If balance wavers, the body compensates. Compensation consumes energy. When energy is consumed by correction, little remains for impact. The impatient practitioner tries to add power at the moment of contact. The wise practitioner preserves power from the moment of initiation. In rotation, as in strategy, momentum is earned early and merely revealed later. The back kick teaches severity and honesty. It tolerates no deception within one's own structure. Before the leg drives, the head turns. Vision aligns the spine aligns the hips align the strike. Alignment is the cheapest and most reliable form of strength. When structure is correct, energy travels directly along its intended path. Nothing spills sideways, nothing twists into waste. The thrust of the heel is simple. It does not rely on flourish. Because the body forms a single coherent line, modest effort yields profound penetration. Force is not theatrical, it is inevitable. Yet again, the movement concludes with recoil. To leave the leg extended is to surrender balance. To retract swiftly is to retain both stability and stored potential. The back kick therefore teaches that clarity of structure reduces the need for exertion. When alignment is lost, energy must compensate. When energy compensates, force diminishes. Thus, structural clarity preserves both treasury and authority. Even in defense, the triad governs. A block is not the act of meeting force with stubbornness. It is the art of guiding force away from vulnerability. The stance grounds the body, the angle of the forearm redirects the incoming strike. Proper balance prevents collapse. Because the defender does not attempt to absorb everything, internal energy remains unbroken. If balance fails during defense, the body absorbs more than necessary. Absorption drains the treasury. A drained treasury weakens the counterattack. What appears as a minor instability in defense becomes a delayed weakness in offense. Thus, even in receiving force, conservation prepares future strength. The wise practitioner does not oppose strength directly. He alters its path. Tae Kwon Do teaches formal patterns of movement called poomsae. To the casual observer, they appear as solitary rehearsals. Measured steps, turns into empty space, strikes delivered to unseen opponents. Yet the emptiness is deliberate. The air itself becomes a field upon which conflict is cultivated and studied without distraction. A form is a garden of invisible adversaries. Each direction holds an implied threat. Each turn acknowledges a presence. The practitioner moves as though surrounded, not because opponents are visible, but because awareness must not depend upon sight alone. In this garden, the triad of force, balance, and conservation is revealed over time rather than in an instant. Force in a single strike may impress. But in a form, force must appear again and again, like waves that continue to meet the shore without exhausting the sea. If a strike is thrown with reckless expenditure, the next movement bears its cost. If a stance is rooted carelessly, the next turn exposes the instability. The body cannot lie to itself for long. Poomsae teaches duration. It stretches a moment into a sequence, and a sequence into a sustained current. Every technique must arise from the ground, travel through a lined structure, and conclude in readiness. If readiness is not restored, the pattern fractures. Consider the turning of the body. A pivot is not merely a change of direction, it is the testing of one's axis. If the center drifts, even slightly, correction is required. Correction is subtle at first, like a small leak in a vessel. Yet as the form continues, those small leaks accumulate. Breath shortens. Shoulders tighten. Movements grow louder but less precise. By the end, fatigue announces what imbalance has quietly prepared. Thus, a form becomes a scroll upon which truth is written in motion. It asks a simple question. Can you sustain order? Energy gathers, expresses, and returns. The gathering is quiet, like drawing water into a reservoir. The expression is decisive, like opening a gate to release it. The return seals the gate once more, preserving what remains. If the gate is left open, the reservoir empties. If it is never opened, the water stagnates. To perform poomsae with mastery is to demonstrate stewardship. It shows that force may be summoned repeatedly without disturbing equilibrium. It shows that balance can endure change of direction. It shows that energy can circulate without depletion. In this way, the practitioner does not merely perform techniques, he tends a living system. What is practiced in the body echoes in life. Force is like fire. It transforms what it touches. It clears obstacles and forges new paths. Yet fire without containment consumes indiscriminately. It must be given direction. Balance is like the mountain. It stands firm against wind and weather. It provides the axis by which the traveler knows north from south. Yet a mountain that never yields cannot adapt. It must allow streams to carve its slopes. Energy conservation is like the river. It flows continuously, feeding fields and sustaining villages. It does not waste itself on barren ground. It bends around resistance rather than colliding with it. Yet a river that never moves becomes a swamp. In a life well governed, these three do not compete, they cooperate. When a person acts with force, through ambition, speech or decision, that force must be anchored in inner balance. Without inner stability, action becomes reaction. Words sharpen beyond necessity. Effort exceeds proportion. Fire escapes its hearth. Balance alone, however, is not virtue if it becomes inertia. A mountain that refuses all change may crumble from internal pressure. Balance must permit movement. It must guide force, not suppress it. Energy is the quiet inheritance granted each day: attention, vitality, time. Those who squander it in every passing distraction resemble a warrior who throws every strike with maximal tension. They are exhausted before the true contest begins. Those who hoard it excessively resemble one who never strikes at all. Both misunderstand stewardship. The triad teaches moderation without weakness and strength without recklessness. In hardship, force may be required. In uncertainty, balance must steady perception. In long endeavors, energy must be preserved. The person who neglects any one of these begins to compensate. Compensation breeds strain, strain breeds fracture, yet when they are harmonized, action becomes efficient. Decisions are made without turbulence. Effort produces effect without waste. Recovery follows exertion as naturally as night follows day. The deeper lesson is this: life is not a single decisive strike, but an extended form. There will be turns you did not anticipate, directions that require swift reorientation. If your center is stable, you pivot without fear. If your energy is guarded wisely, you continue without depletion. If your force is measured, you act without regret. The wise practitioner therefore trains not merely to defeat an opponent, but to cultivate durability. He understands that systems collapse gradually, long before they fail visibly. So he maintains the integrity of his own structure. The river continues because it does not resist its nature. The mountain endures because it does not abandon its foundation. The flame warms because it is contained. So too must force be directed, balance be preserved, and energy be stewarded. In the end, mastery is not the loud display of strength. It is the quiet continuity of a system that does not unravel.